What happens when two writers build a TV series around one bloke getting tomorrow's news today? You get a show about a man who wakes up every morning with a magic newspaper, a ginger cat at the door, and a fresh problem waiting to ruin his day. So how did a little CBS drama become a Saturday night hit, then still end up getting binned? Let's find out. This is the history of Early Edition. It was 1995 when two writers, Vic Rubenfeld and Pat Page, started kicking around a new feature film idea after meeting each other through volleyball in Manhattan Beach. The idea was, what if a normal guy got tomorrow's news today? But Rubenfeld thought the concept would work better for TV. A film would burn through the gimmick really quickly, but a series could throw the main character into a new problem every week. So they started building the show properly, with characters and complete treatments for the first 12 episodes, including the pilot. But they still needed someone who could get the thing in front of TV execs, because good ideas don't walk into network offices on their own. So they brought the concept to Ian Abrams, an acquaintance who could actually help push the thing forward. Over lunch at a restaurant in LA, Rubenfeld and Page pitched their idea, and Abrams loved it and helped shape it further. Out of that came Gary Hobson, a man thrown out by his wife, stuck in a hotel, getting tomorrow's news early and trying to stop the worst before it even happens. With the idea sharpened up, Abrams arranged a meeting with TriStar, and this is where things got interesting. He walked in with a fake newspaper dated 25th of August 95, carrying the headline, "Let's just let it end. O.J. Simpson confesses he's guilty of homicide." The room started buzzing, especially when someone noticed the paper was dated for the next day. It was a ballsy move, and it worked. An Early Edition got greenlit. But the next move was finding the right bloke who could stop tomorrow from going Pete Tong. Kyle Chandler took that job as Gary Hobson. Alongside him came Fisher Stevens as Chuck Fishman, because apparently one fish joke was not enough. Gary's old life gave the show its next key piece, with Shanasia Williams playing Marissa Clark. Even the cat had its own casting, with Panther Peeler sharing the role across the series. With the paper, the friends, and the cat in place, Ron Dean came in as Detective Marion Crumb. And on the other hand, the guest list was properly stacked too, with Felicity Huffman, Michael Shannon, Louis Gossett Jr., and many more appearing on the show. On top of that, the show even found room for some surprise cameos, including Coolio. So the show had its cast. Now it needed music strong enough to make tomorrow's trouble feel bigger than a bloke reading the paper. That job went to W.G. Warden, who wrote the opening credits and later wrote the theme for Friday Night Lights. In 1997, Early Edition picked up 2 Emmy nominations, one for the main title theme music and one for the dramatic underscore. For a series built around a stressed out bloke legging it across Chicago, the music was clearly doing its job. Now the question was whether anyone would actually turn up to watch it. When the show finally hit screens in September 96, it landed on Saturday nights, tucked between Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and Walker, Texas Ranger. That could have gone bad really fast, because Saturday night TV was not exactly where networks sent their loudest new toys. But Early Edition came out swinging. The premiere landed strong, and it was obvious the audience liked it. By the autumn, the Washington Post reported that Early Edition had become the highest rated new drama of the season ahead of Millennium. So audience-wise, CBS had something that actually worked. But as usual, critics were not having it, even if some of them actually appeared on the bloody show. Entertainment Weekly thought the premise sounded goofy, but still saw why it could work, mainly because Kyle Chandler had that everyman quality and the show gave Gary a clear moral job every week. Tom Shales at the Washington Post went much harder and dismissed it, calling it sappy and oversoftened. So the moaning critics were at it again, but the audience kept coming back for more. As the run carried on, CBS even used Early Edition for a couple of crossovers. Season 2 crossed over with Chicago Hope, then Season 3 brought in Sammo Hung, using Early Edition to help push martial law.
Heroes. The guy who knows the future has to save a supermodel.
Raw war.
It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Early Edition.
Behind the scenes, the show didn't have some massive scandal hiding in the alley. The actual graft was keeping a weekly fantasy show moving through real Chicago streets, while the cast, narration, and the shape of the series kept changing around it. The series was filmed in Chicago and nearby towns, with interiors shot on the Early Edition soundstage at Studio City. Chandler later described the crew as a tight-knit, rough-and-tumble, and almost family-like group. He said there could be fights, then everyone would come back inside with their arms around each other. So the set might have not been falling apart, but the show itself started shifting when Fisher Stevens left after season 2. Chuck's voiceover had already been cut back, and once Stevens stepped away, the narration got passed around before the show dropped it completely. But he still popped back for guest star spots, but the regular trio was gone. Then the show brought in Christy Swanson, with Miles Jeffrey and Billy Woolley added to the cast. So by the later run, the series still had Gary, the paper, and the cat. But usually when a show starts changing that much, the next problem usually comes from upstairs.
I get tomorrow's newspaper. Today.
By its final stretch, the show wasn't dead, but CBS clearly wasn't treating it like the golden child anymore. The show still had viewers, but its rankings had slipped, and CBS was looking at Saturday night like it needed some younger blood. So that put Early Edition in a rough spot. In early 2000, CBS pulled the show from its slot and put the game show Winning Lines in its place, but the show failed. An Early Edition was moved back to its slot, but CBS had already tried life without it. So after 4 seasons, in May 2000, the network cancelled the show. But the fans weren't having it. They sent letters to CBS, while Kyle Chandler was telling viewers to lobby for renewal. Later petitions kept pushing for the show to come back, but that fell on deaf ears. Turns out Gary could change tomorrow's headlines, but he couldn't change CBS's minds. The same month though, Fox Family picked it up for syndication. According to the LA Times, the rights cost around $700,000 per episode, which isn't exactly loose change for a show that just got tossed aside. From there, it kept turning up on different channels over the years. So CBS may have been done with it, but the show kept finding another sofa to crash on. The fan base stuck around too. Fan conventions were held for multiple years. Ian Abrams spoke about the series at one of those events. So the people who cared about Early Edition clearly weren't ready to bring Gary, the paper, or the furry little plot starter. That fan interest though made the wait for the DVDs even more annoying. The first season finally came out through CBS DVD and Paramount in 2008. The second season followed the next year. Finally, Visual Entertainment released the complete collection in 2018, with all 90 episodes across a 16-disc set. For fans who want to add the series to their collection, I've added a link in the description below, and there should be a card popping up on screen to help you check it out.
I'm out there saving people's lives. That's what I do, you see.
Now, years later, CBS still hadn't completely let go of the idea. So in 2022, the network ordered a reboot pilot through Affirm Television in association with Sony Pictures and CBS Studios. Then CBS decided not to move forward with it. Now, as for my own take on it, I think Early Edition was good. It's one of those shows that had a simple idea, a good cast, and a lead who didn't need to act like a big flashy hero to make it work. Gary Hobson had that good bloke charm, like he'd rather be somewhere else but still couldn't walk away when someone needed help. Some of the episodes were funny, some were tense, and some got a bit darker than you would expect for a show about a newspaper turning up early. The writing could bounce between comedy and suspense without making the whole thing feel like a mess. But after Stevens left, it wasn't quite the same. Chuck brought a sharper edge to the early years, and once he was gone, the show lost a bit of that original spark. Now let's not forget the crossover with Sammo Hung. I found that really funny, because only in 90s TV would you chuck that into the mix. At the end of the day, Early Edition is really good entertainment. It's easy to watch, it's got heart, and the concept is still strong after all these years. And we're not done yet. Next time we take a look at another classic series. Until then, why don't you check out our previous video on martial law. Thanks for watching, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.